Coming up on this episode of DL Weekly, Happy Haunts materialize for a movie premiere. Disneyland turns 68.
A sneak peek of things to come to San Fransokyo. We check in with Tage and James in Europe and more. DL Weekly starts now.
Buenos dias, señorita. My siestas are getting shorter and shorter. Oh, look at all the people listening. Welcome to DL Weekly's Enchanted Podcast. Hey, Tag and Teresa, mi amigos. Pay attention, it's showtime.
Hello and welcome to this episode of DL Weekly for the week of July 19th, 2023. I'm Teresa Urban.
And I'm Lynn Barron.
We would like to thank all current weekly tiers, including Sarah G., Allison Q., Eric M., and Jan Y. for supporting the show. Without your support, DL Weekly would not be possible. Your support ensures that the podcast will continue and that we can make it to the parks more often to bring you the latest news and information right from the park. If you would like to become an official weekly tier, head on over to dlweekly.net/support to sign up. Well, our friends over at Concierge have a really fun promo going on for Christmas in July. Any vacation package booked through Concierge now through July 24th will get a $50 Disney gift card free of charge from our travel planners, Concierge. I mean, how amazing is that? If that's not good enough, you are also going to be entered in to win a one-night stay free. The winner will be announced on July 25th. So not only are you getting a gift card, you might be winning a free hotel night. How exciting.
That's right. Yeah, we're excited over at Concierge about this. And I think it's one of the first, at least since I've been travel planning, it's been one of the first big promotions we've done like this.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Really, really fun. So make sure you head on over to concierge.com. Let them know that DL Weekly sent you. You can also request Lynn to be your travel planner if you'd like. He can help plan your next amazing Disney vacation. Very exciting. One thing, though, is that the theme park packages to qualify must include at least 2 nights and 2-day tickets at Disneyland or 3-day tickets for Walt Disney World. So there is a little bit of exactly what a vacation theme park package is defined as. But I double checked, and Lynn can confirm, if you're going to be booking a trip to Aulani or if you're going to be going on the Disney Cruise Line, those vacations also count as entries. So the theme park ones just have rules. But other thing to mention too, it doesn't matter when you're going on this vacation. It's not like you have to make sure you go in December to be able to be eligible. This is, anything that you have coming up.
That's right. Yeah. Yeah. And we're booking dates for 2024 for Walt Disney World, and Disneyland hasn't yet announced when their dates for 2024 are going to come out.
Oh, really?
It should be pretty soon, I'm thinking.
Yeah, I would hope so. We're getting closer to the end of the year now than we are at the beginning of the year. And the cruise line has opened everything up, I think, for 2024 now as well, which is very, very exciting.
All right. Now let's get to the news.
Well, we have some breaking news for you all today. Disney has announced a new nighttime entertainment offering coming to New Orleans Square. Queenie will be joining the Jambalaya Jazz Band, and they're going to be moving on over to the Rivers of America. So beginning on Friday, July 21st, that's right, this Friday, the Jambalaya Jazz Band are taking their show aboard a river barge. And Queenie, who is a guest favorite, is returning to the band with New Orleans-inspired jazz acts to add a magical atmosphere to the evenings alongside the river there.
So Queenie is such a big guest favorite that I don't even know who is Queenie.
I don't know. I'm like, I need to look this up. I don't know. I feel like I've been missing out, but I'm very excited about this. I know we've got some weekly tiers that are going to be are in the parks now and going to be in the parks when she comes back. So I'm really excited to hear their thoughts about this. But this just sounds so fun. There's going to be 3 sets of performances beginning at 7:35 p.m. nightly. You can check the Disneyland app for showtimes and details beginning on Friday. But it sounds like they've got energetic and interactive performances. So just super, super fun. And then the other cool thing, too, is you can then stick around after the show and watch the projections for Wondrous or if you're there in September, October, it's Halloween, the Halloween Screams show, and watch it from there. But yeah, just super fun. So what's being described is that they perform high energy New Orleans tunes plus other Disney favorites. So come on now, what's not to love?
Did they? I don't know if they did this up to the time Fantasmic closed, but did they? Because they used to have the jazz band that would float on the raft and play like as a pre-show as you're waiting for the show. That was like a thing that always was. I don't know.
I think it's been a little while since then. I know.
Has it? Yeah.
The last couple of times we went, I don't remember that. So I don't know if that was pre-park closure or if that maybe stopped even before then. But I just think it's fun. The only time that there's really recently been any sort of floating band on the rivers of America is usually for the after dark, like the after dark nights. Because the Cantina band, not this past Star Wars night, the previous, was on one of the rafts playing their stuff. And there's been other things. The Cantina band's the one that sticks out in my head the most, though. Yeah. But yeah, I think
it's really cool.
Well, I mean, let's be honest, not as exciting, of course, as, something that's as spectacular and amazing as Fantasmic, but I'm glad that some entertainment, some live entertainment will be back in that area for the evenings.
Yeah, sounds good. Disneyland turns 68 on Monday, July 17th. To celebrate, the resort had a fun birthday cavalcade. I could say that. A birthday donut for purchase at Jolly Holiday, cute photo op signs, a limited edition pin, and even an exclusive Walt Disney Club 33 tiki mug available to Club 33 members.
Is that not wild? What a way to celebrate the 68th anniversary. But yeah, so these kind of, how do I say, like off years. So, right, you've got like the 60th was a big thing. The 50th was a big thing. It'll be interesting if they do this, if they go out for the 70th or if they wait and just really go out for the 75th. But these kind of in between years, they do something to acknowledge the day, but they don't, it's not huge pomp and circumstance like for the other ones. But it's fun. We were there in 2021 for the 66th anniversary. Now, that was the first time I had ever been at Disneyland on the anniversary day. And the energy is just different in the parks. And same thing with this 66th. Their cavalcade was a little less than the cavalcade that they had for the 68th this year. But still very exciting. Lots of fun photo ops. Everybody just seems to be somehow in a better mood. I feel like the parks are just more full of Disney, like true Disney fans. So you kind of, it's kind of you get like a sense of camaraderie. So it was just really fun. Have you been to a Disneyland birthday? Of course, you've probably worked a couple Disneyland birthdays.
Yeah, I was definitely there on the 50th, and they did a media event that was just, so they closed Disneyland for one day just for media, and California Adventure was open, but DCA was closed to the public for that one day. It was like in May, I think, of 2005. Yeah, so I worked that, and then I worked the actual 50th day, of course. But yeah, it was crazy because I was the parade lead on Main Street, and there wasn't a parade at that moment, but we still took care of like events and things that happened. So yeah, I was in front of the castle cleaning up after their big ceremony they did with, Michael Eisner. I think Bob Iger was there then. Yeah, a whole bunch of people. But
wow, very cool.
Yeah, it was cool. So yeah, I was there for that. All the ones from 98 to 2007. I think most of them. Have you gotten to experience
one as a guest or just as a cast member?
I think I was as a guest. I'm trying to remember the other ones. I don't know. I don't remember. I'm not going to try to remember.
Sure. That's okay. The other thing that I just felt that I needed to include in this news article, because it just kind of caught me off guard. We got to talk about the Club 33 Walt Tiki mug. Did you, of course, there's a link in the show notes. So if you're curious what this is exactly, tons of photos posted by DL News Today. What are your thoughts on this Walt Disney Tiki mug?
It's very interesting.
It's okay. It's fun, but I also think about what would Waltz think, and I don't know if he would necessarily be thrilled about this. It's fun though. It's Waltz. It looks like he's holding a suitcase in one hand. It's the traditional tiki mug style, so it looks like it's kind of like carved. It's an off-white color, and the lines are kind of more of a brown color. He's wearing a lei. He's got a big grin on his face, and then I don't know if he's sitting in a Club 33 chair but the backside has a gold Club 33 logo on the back. It almost looks like, because there's like what looks like posts, so I don't know if that's like the backside of a chair or what, but yeah, it is definitely interesting. But it was the Club 33 members were the first to get this tiki mug at a True Life Adventures of Walt Disney event with Walt Disney Archives historian Ed Ovell, which that in and of itself is cool to have gone to that presentation. But the tiki mug is interesting.
Very, yeah.
Would this be something you want to add to your collection?
I don't think so.
No. I've recently become tiki mugs are the thing that I find so cool, but I just can't let myself go there because I don't need one more thing to collect, but they're so cool. I love them. So I think this is interesting. I do think this is interesting. I would love to know more of the backstory, like who came up with this idea and designed it and all that stuff. But I thought that was a fun little, not something you would expect to celebrate the anniversary. Put Walt
on a tiki mug?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes, exactly. Well, it was all tricks with little treats for the Oogie Boogie Bash tickets that went back on sale July 11th, and they were sold out by the next day. I don't know if they technically sold out on the 11th or if it was the 12th, but I mean, quick. Within 24 hours, they were sold out. Fans were waiting in the virtual queue for hours at a chance to try and purchase tickets for the popular nighttime event. This was, I feel, last month on we do a public live stream monthly, and last month I was all excited about Oogie Boogie Bash, so that's all I want to talk about. I just want to talk about Oogie Boogie Bash. I was letting people know, I've done the virtual queue, like it's not like great, but it's also not terrible, reassuring. It's not like I've never had issues. This year I fell flat on my face, so I not only think I jinxed myself, but I think like everybody, it was just bad, really, really bad. I've never seen so many people trying to get tickets and not being successful for an event.
I know.
And the fact that this sold out like right away is crazy insane. The other thing that I find wild was if you went on eBay or StubHub or any of these kind of resale sites, there were a lot of people that bought a lot of tickets just to post them and resell them, which if you read the fine print, you are not allowed to do according to Disney. But they were selling these tickets for double, triple the cost. And I was hopeful. I was actually watching a video from David from Fresh Baked. I was hopeful that these were getting reported and taken down because that's just not right. That's not fair.
Yeah.
But David said that he was hoping the same thing, but he followed a few of the sales on eBay, and he's like, the next day they were gone. So I was hopeful, that they got taken down. No, they were all sold. So and the thing that's crazy about that is I really hope the people that paid extreme top dollar for these aren't getting taken, because I don't necessarily, because they're not transferable. You're not supposed to resell them. So they're running a high risk that they're not going to be honored, and they might be
you're
turned
taking
away
a big risk.
Yeah, huge risk that they're not going to be taken, that they're going to be turned away at the gate.
Yeah, I would not advise that.
No,
it's a fun event, but I don't think it's worth that.
No, definitely not. Not that. That's way too high of a risk, in my opinion. But I do need to give a special shout out to some of our friends over at Concierge, specifically to Marie and Bethany, because if it wasn't for those two, DL Weekly would not be going to the Oogie Boogie Bash. So since they are our official travel planners, they were super kind and were able to snag 2 tickets for Tag and I, and they got the night we wanted, which just happened to be the first night that sold out. And just because I was curious, and I want to make sure other weekly tiers in our group chat got tickets. I stayed in the queue just to see how long it would take, but then B, double check and make sure there wasn't somebody else that was in line behind me that I could maybe help get tickets for.
Yeah.
And yeah, there was, I think over half the nights were sold out by the time it was my turn in line. So huge shout out to Marie and to Bethany for helping
they're awesome.
Get that together for us. But I just wild. So if you didn't know, that's something that concierge can help you with when you book your travel plans and your vacations through them, is they can help you with the headaches that are these virtual queues.
Yeah, it's just a complimentary thing, like booking dining and getting other reservations for you. Yeah.
But yeah, man, I owe those ladies big time. Big time.
Very cool. The Haunted Mansion movie premiered at Disneyland this past week. The red carpet was rolled out in front of the mansion for foolish mortals to attend. Playful spooks and even some Disney villains were in attendance. The event started in New Orleans Square at the Haunted Mansion and then continued over to DCA at the Hyperion Theater.
This was so fun. Seeing the photos of,
I know, yeah,
like the red carpet in front of the Haunted Mansion and the red carpet all in, I don't remember what they call that space in between the French Market and like the space that's in front of the New Orleans Square railroad station that has that beautiful fountain and gardens area. It's typically where
something park
probably,
or something like
that. I can't remember what it is offhand, but
that
area had red carpet all over the place. They had all sorts of different like posters and promotional kind of things up. So cool.
Yeah, it looks cool.
They had, Disney villains walk the red carpet. So I want to say that I saw Maleficent, Cruella, and photos of who else? Oh, the evil queen from Snow White. But even cooler is a couple of rare Haunted Mansion characters made an appearance. Constance, the bride in the mansion, she was there. And then also Sally, she's the tightrope walker from the stretching room, was also there too. So
I saw those photos. I thought that those were like guests that had dressed up.
Oh, no. Those were cast members. Yeah, those are very rare character appearances. I know I've seen Sally in the parks before. I don't remember what it was for or when it was. Maybe it was for the 50th anniversary. But more recently, Constance has been in the Frightfully Fun Parade for the Haunted Mansion parade unit. She's been seen there. So rare characters making their appearance to celebrate the premiere of their attractions film.
Yeah, it was interesting. So I worked a couple of the Pirates Caribbean, the movie premieres that they had at Disneyland, where they set up bleachers along the river, and then they brought in this big screen to show the movie on. I remember working one of the mornings and they brought it in with a helicopter and dropped it down on the island.
Oh my gosh.
It was amazing. Yeah, the helicopter was right there above the island, just dropping on this big screen at 5 a.m. And and the bleachers, it just looked, I didn't have a cell phone. If I did, it wasn't anything you'd take photos with. But I wish I did, just to see all that. It was pretty cool.
Wow.
But,
and did they have like the red carpet down Main Street for that one too?
Yeah, all the way into Frontierland, and then they had the reception area. Yeah, in like New Orleans and Frontierland area.
Crazy. That's crazy cool.
Yeah, that was cool.
This was interesting because the premiere for the Haunted Mansion took place in both Disneyland and DCA. Disneyland was kind of just a like reception area. They had the attraction was open for premier guests to be able to ride. Right. I don't believe it was open for regular park guests at this specific time. But then the party also was going on over in DC over at the Hyperion Theater. And in the courtyard or the queuing area, it had been the overflow seating area for Pim Test Kitchen, that side area there. I want to say it was over there. There was like refreshments, and I want to say there was live music, but they had some fun photo ops. There was a Doom buggy that you could get your photo taken in. They also had a lot of things from the film, a lot of different props and costumes that you can kind of see, that you could go see up close. So yeah, very, very cool. I've been hesitantly excited about the new film. But now that people have seen the premiere, of course, nobody's been able to release any details. But I want to say it was someone from Laughing Place. After they said it, they described it as a love letter to the attraction. And so because of that, I'm now even more excited to go see this because, they said there's tons of Easter eggs to the attraction in the film, and they wanted to watch it over and over again because they felt like there's no way that you could catch all of them. There was that many little hidden details and Easter eggs, which I think is really fun.
The only thing missing from this was the actual stars that were in it and directors and people that had to do with the movie because of the strike going on.
Exactly.
Unfortunately. Which was like a big part of the Pirates premiere. Johnny Depp, of course, Orlando Bloom.
I want to say, so the writer for the film, as well as all of the actors, were not present for this premiere. Originally, they were all going to be in attendance, but like you mentioned, Lynn, because of the ongoing strikes for both the Writers Guild and now the Actors Guild, they did not attend.
Yeah,
for that reason. So,
but it still looked good. Yeah,
it still looked like a fun party, and there's still there was still a celebration for the movie. I'm not going to pretend that I know all of the ins and outs of the different strikes, but from what I've read, I get it, and I think that I completely agree for them to be doing what they're doing because just like Disneyland cast members, everyone deserves to be paid fairly and equally. So shout out to all of those on the line. We support you. Yeah. Well, some other special people were in attendance for the world premiere. This was so cool. Disney invited cast members from the Haunted Mansion attractions from around the world. So I think they did two from each attraction. So you had two from Disneyland's Haunted Mansion. Well, probably more than two from Disneyland, but at least two from Disneyland's Haunted Mansion. Two from Tokyo, Paris, Hong Kong, Shanghai, and of course Florida. And they all kind of got together to celebrate the Haunted Mansion. And I just think it's so, so cool that they did this. But they all got to spend, I want to say it was a week in California. And they got to step onto the red carpet at New Orleans Square. For some of these people, it was the first time that they had visited California and the first time that they had visited Disneyland. Some of these cast members had been working for years and years and years at the different resorts. So I just think it's so, so cool that they got to do these things. Josh D'Amaro came and was hanging out with them while they were, attending the premiere, but I just think it's so cool. And the other neat thing too is all of the cast members. There's a really great article from the Disney Parks blog that of course we'll have linked in the show notes. All the different cast members talking about their attraction and how it's a fan favorite attraction around the world, even though like Mystic Manor is very different than the Haunted Mansion in Disneyland. And then also Paris, their version of the mansion is different than Walt Disney, so it's a unique attraction in that it's not the same in every location. So I thought that was really cool.
That is cool. I'm glad they did that.
I personally have only ever experienced the two US park versions, which are very, very similar. But Phantom Manor, similar, but also like a different twist on this, a very different twist on the story. Mystic Manor is its own unique and special thing. So I just think it's so cool.
Yeah, I don't know if I'd include Mystic Manor as a Haunted Mansion attraction, but it's in that category. Yeah. New foods inspired by the Haunted Mansion have materialized around the resort. There is a prefixed menu at Cafe Orleans featuring a seafood boil and spooky vanilla mousse. Harbor Galley has the Constance concoction, which is a potato leek soup served in a bread bowl, and the Pickwick Ghost Punch. For dessert, stop by the Candy Palace or Candy Kitchen to grab a crystal ball cereal treat, or check out the New Orleans Square churro cart for April to December churro. This
is fun. The thing that looked the most intriguing to me was the dessert, which I feel like it's always the desserts look the most intriguing to me. But the dessert at Cafe Orleans, it doesn't sound like much. They just describe it as a vanilla mousse. However, if you see photos of this thing, again, of course, linked in our show notes, it looks they have it somehow, they shaped it like a candle. It looks like a candle that you'd be carrying to light your way down the creepy hallways of the Haunted Mansion. I just love the presentation on this thing is incredible. I would go get the prefix menu just for this. Like, of course I'll eat the entree and enjoy the rest of the meal, but this would be the reason I'm there. I just think this is so cool, so unique, and just very creative and unexpected. It
does look really neat. Did it says limited time, so they haven't said when it's going to go away?
I haven't seen when these would be. It just says starting today, so I'm not sure. I'm sure it's a limited time, but I don't know when the end date is. But
the end of summer or something.
And if seafood's not your thing, I did see photos of the actual menu online. Mm-hmm. You can get the seafood boil or your choice of one of the other entrees. So,
okay,
you're not locked into seafood if that's not your thing. But man, I'm telling you, I would get it just for the dessert.
It looks really good. It does.
The April December churro looks really unique too. It's strawberry flavored sugar with fresh strawberries, purple cherry sugar, freeze-dried strawberries, and a donut icing drizzle.
I don't know. Are you? I think you are, but you're a fan of these churros with all this stuff extra.
Loves churros. Vern is a huge churro. When we were just there in May, he was every time we walked past a churro cart, if it was a churro he hadn't tried yet, he had this, he just needed to try it. Didn't matter if we had just eaten or if we were about to eat. Didn't matter. He needed to try these churros. He's all about the churros. I wouldn't say I dislike churros, but I don't have the same, must-have churros.
Yeah.
And sometimes these specialty churros are kind of hit and miss. I think they're always fun, but flavor-wise, hit and miss sometimes.
Sometimes it seems a little much, but that's just me. I'm very simple. I mean, vanilla ice cream is my favorite ice cream. So.
Nothing wrong with that, Lynn. There's nothing wrong. So maybe the vanilla mousse would be more up your alley. The candle vanilla mousse. The other thing I want to mention is that potato leek soup. You're probably, when you're listening, wondering, what the heck does that have to do with the Haunted Mansion? Well, it's all about the presentation. Yeah. They made it very spooky looking. There's this purple drizzle that's on top of it. That's the pea flour creme. And there's an herb oil. But they also have fried leeks on top that look kind of, I don't know, like spidery or something. They look kind of creepy. So if you're wondering what's creepy about potato leek soup, well, nothing. The presentation is what makes it Haunted Mansion themed. And the Crystal Ball cereal treat is basically a Rice Krispie treat on a stick with a little chocolate medallion with Madame Leota's head on it. So it's like Madame Leota's crystal ball.
Mm-hmm. This the punch looks pretty good. The Pickwick Ghost Punch.
I was trying to remember. So back when we were celebrating the Haunted Mansion's 50th anniversary, I think they had this before. I'm not really positive, but when I read this, I'm like, I think I tried a Pickwick Punch, but it was over at Royal Street Veranda. Okay. Not at Harbor Galley. And I don't remember if this was the same recipe or if maybe it was different. I'm going to have to go back because I remember taking photos because they also had some sort of fritters.
Yeah, it looks good. It looks refreshing. And who's Pickwick?
So I was watching the Fresh Baked did a video. It was called Haunted Mansion Day, and they went and tried some of these different foods and were showing the different merch and stuff. And in that video, David said that Pickwick is the name of the ghost that's hanging from the chandelier in the ballroom scene. I have not verified and double checked that, but according to David from Fresh Baked in that video, that's who he described the ghost as. And it kind of made sense because the ghost is hanging up there with a cup of something. Right. Okay. So I could see this making that being the connection as to why that specific ghost has a punch named after him.
It's interesting when I hear some of the ghosts have names, and
isn't it fun? Don't you wonder, have they always have names? Is this a new name? Who decided on the names? But maybe we'll learn more names in the upcoming film.
Oh, true. That's really true. Maybe it'll be a character in the movie.
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, a new Pepita character puppet float appeared in the Magic Happens parade this week. The puppet now has a platform underneath it with a float with a driver. Previously, cast members would walk underneath the body of Pepita to control her leg and head movements, as well as walk her down the parade route. So this was an interesting change. When we were there last, Pepita was not actually in the parade. I don't know if they were having difficulties with the setup and walking with her down the parade, or what the reasoning was, but they did make some changes, and she is back. Oh,
good. Okay.
It's have you seen this parade? The Magic Happens parade?
Probably disappoint some people. I'm just not into parades. I mean, of course, I've seen Main Street Electrical, but I don't know. I know I have not seen this. I haven't seen any of the really parades in the last. So when I worked there, we followed the parade and cleaned up after them. So I saw the ending of them, but I don't know. I'm just not a parade person.
Parades are your thing. So this current parade, Magic Happens, is gotta be in my opinion, one of the best parades.
That's what I hear.
More recently, it's just the costumes are incredible. The songs super catchy, and Pepita she's a character from Coco, but she's this big, colorful tiger character with wings. And
I saw the video. Yeah.
I'm trying to think if it's 4, it might be 5. At least 4, maybe 5 cast members when she was a full puppet to get her, to make all of her movements happen and to get her down the road. So, I mean, it was incredible. So I can understand why probably a platform is a bit more realistic for a parade performance, but the puppet was just wild.
Impressive, huh?
Very impressive, exactly. So we'll see. I haven't seen video of the new version of Pepita on the float with the driver. I'm hoping they didn't lose all of the movement, because all 4 of her legs would go. So it looked like she was. Neat. It was very cool. Very, very cool.
Okay, cool. Well, Mice Chat was invited to a sneak peek of some of the fun coming to San Fransokyo Square. Fans of Baymax and his friends will be excited for the merch offerings coming to Maker's Market, including shirts, hats, magnets, D-Tech phone cases, Apple Watch bands, earbud cases, and more. They also got to sample some of the new food and drink items coming. San Fransokyo Square is scheduled to officially open August 31st.
This is so exciting. So food menus, as we reported on, it was that last week before. As we reported on recently, the food menus for some of the locations will be available sooner than August 31st, but the full official transformation is not until August 31st. Just exciting. The other thing too, the Disney Park shared an Instagram reel, or they shared a video and gave us all a sneak peek at Hero and Baymax and their meet and greet. And it looks so fun. I've never met Baymax in a Disney park. I know he did meet and greets in Walt Disney World. I'm not sure if he ever was in. He may have been in Land. I don't think he's been in Land. I think this is his Disneyland DCA debut. But he's one of my favorite characters. He's just so cute and so ridiculous. So I'm very excited to see him at the parks.
Yeah, looks neat. I've seen the movie once and I enjoyed it. I don't remember a whole lot. I remember the character. I just don't remember a whole lot about the plot and everything.
Oh, sure.
Yeah.
It's kind of more unique because it's Baymax he was designed and built to be like a healthcare helper, and he then through the thing of the movie becomes like a superhero with the tech friends. And so that's the other thing I thought was a really fun mashup with the market, is there's a lot of tech, like it's very tech heavy in the movie, and they build all of their own superhero gear and all that cool stuff. They have like little fighting bots, I think, what are they called, nanobots and all this stuff. So having a lot of tech related merchandise makes a lot of sense for this area. The other thing I wanted to note too, because we haven't talked about food enough, Mice Chat got to try some of the different food items coming, and while the Disney Parks blog did share some of their photos of the food, Mice Chat shared photos of the dishes that they got to try and things that were on the display, and they look they still look amazing. You know, sometimes how the promo photo looks one way, and then when you actually get it, it looks a different way.
Right,
well, no,
right.
these still look very, very delicious. And everything they tried, they said was great. They didn't have any complaints about the food or the drink items that they were able to taste. So I'm very excited.
Awesome.
Pilots, we've detected some producer questions near Jakku. Report to your DLWeekly vessels and make the jump to hyperspace. The 7-7 Squadron will provide support during your trivia mission. Good luck, and may the Force be with you.
Welcome to Trivia Land. How we feeling tonight? We have awesome knowledge in our heads, and we're ready to answer great questions.
We'll do our best.
I'm ready.
All right. We are recording this episode on July 18th, which is the day after the anniversary of the park's opening. So I figured it would be a good time for me to do a little deep diving and see what I could learn about the opening of Disneyland and see what you know about opening day. So are you ready for 4 regular round opening day questions and a bonus question?
This could either go fairly well or terrible.
Really bad. Yeah, we'll see.
We'll see how this goes.
All right. Well, let's see how you do. As aforementioned, we are recording this on July 18th, the day after the anniversary of the International Press Preview, now known as Opening Day of Disneyland. Due to mishaps throughout the park on that day, what nickname did the day end up receiving?
Ooh, okay, we're starting
Black
good
Sunday.
here.
Black Sunday.
Sunday, yep.
Yeah.
Black Sunday. Is that your final answer?
Final answer. Feeling good about trivia, too.
All right. Your second question from my opening day deep dive. Oh, my spreadsheet went nuts on me. All right. Your second question from my opening day deep dive. 2 days ago, July 16th, marks the anniversary of a special performance at the Golden Horseshoe Review for which major sponsor?
For a sponsor? I thought it was Walt and Lillian's anniversary party.
Pepsi, Colt, Pepsi.
Pepsi?
I know they served Pepsi and Golden Horseshoe at one point.
You've got me thrown off because I thought it was Walt and Lillian's anniversary.
Or maybe it's
party.
Coca-Cola. Well, they did have theirs then, the anniversary, but I'm going to go with Pepsi. That's just my instinct.
Pepsi?
It's probably wrong, but
Can you guess, what was the question again?
2 days ago, July 16th, marks the anniversary of a special performance at the Golden Horseshoe Review for which major sponsor?
oh,
A special
a performance.
for a sponsor.
But Pepsi isn't a sponsor anymore. So it wouldn't be an anniversary. Right?
Unless it's just like the company anniversary.
Oh,
Right,
I'm just saying
right.
it's the anniversary of the day that there was a performance.
A performance,
Yes.
okay. We're overthinking the question.
Yeah, we're not necessarily still celebrating said anniversary,
Got
but
it.
if we were
Okay.
to celebrate an anniversary, it would be that day.
All right. I'm going to stay with what I said. Then.
You're sticking with Pepsi. I'm going to say, I'm going to go out on a limb and say ABC.
ABC? Mm-hmm. The network that recorded or produced everything.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep.
All right. Your third question. Of the roughly 28,000 guests in the park on opening day, it's estimated that blank percent actually had been invited.
Had been invited. It was like crazy low.
Like half.
Like, was it half or was it lower than half?
Hmm.
I'm going to say 25%.
Yeah. You're probably right, but I'm going to stick with 50. Yeah.
All right, so 25% and 50% final answers.
Yes.
The best we got.
All right. And your fourth and final regular round question. This one's kind of a biggie. I will give half credit points. Can you name the opening day attractions?
Yes.
Weren't there like...
Specifically, I'm looking for rides.
Oh boy. Like all of them? Or like ones that we can ride again today?
All of them, right?
By my research, I'm going to say that you can ride all of them today.
You cannot. There was the Phantom boats. Is that what they were called?
I don't think that was opening day.
Tomorrowland.
Yeah, I don't think that was opening day.
You don't think those were opening day?
No, but I thought
Okay,
20,000
Autopia
Leagues was 20,000 Leagues opening day.
No.
No,
That was when the monorail and the Matterhorn.
no. The movie.
Like the walkthrough thing.
Yeah,
I don't know.
maybe not.
I don't know. Okay, well, Autopia.
Okay, Utopia. Let's go with that.
I don't remember. Are you gonna? And you said ride, like attractions.
Specifically,
as in
I'm asking
rides.
for rides.
Okay, there was
Peter Pan.
Yep, Peter Pan. Oh,
Mr.
hang on. Yeah, I gotta write these down. Otherwise, we're not gonna remember. Autopia. Okay, Autopia. Peter Pan.
Mr. Toad.
Yep, Mr. Toad. The teacups.
No way. Yeah, teacups. Oh,
Teacups.
yes, teacups.
Casey
Snow White.
Jr. Snow White.
Casey Jr. Was that an opening day? I don't think it was open on opening day though.
See, and like Dumbo's considered an opening day attraction, but it wasn't actually open on opening day.
Yeah, I don't think Casey Jr. was opening day. Could be
Like
wrong
the
on
boats.
that.
What the heck were the boats? It wasn't Storybook Land Canal boats. It was something about like something around the world.
Something canals. Yeah, we'll go with that though. The canal boats.
Canal.
Because remember during the 50th, they had gold
Yeah.
vehicles for different. I'm trying to think when I was walking around. What the carousel you mentioned.
Nope, we didn't do I didn't write it down yet.
Okay. I think that's it in Fantasyland. You know what though? They did have a golden Dumbo though, but I wonder if they were going after the year and not the opening day.
Maybe.
You know what I mean? 55. Because Casey Jr. did open in 55, but not opening day. But Vern's asking for opening day.
Yeah. How?
Are we being too specific?
Can you give us a hint? Are we being too specific?
I'm looking for opening day specifically, and so far you're doing very well.
So, but we've gone back and Dumbo. Are we considering that opening day or not opening?
No,
day?
because it was not operational on opening day.
Okay, that was the hint we needed. There were Main Street vehicles.
Well, the
There was a
railroad.
red-
I don't need those.
Oh, dang it!
The railroad?
I just learned.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, the Disneyland Railroad,
I will accept that.
the Jungle Cruise.
Jungle Cruise.
If you had mistaken that one, I was going to leave the podcast.
Jungle Cruise. The Mark Twain.
Yes. I don't think the canoes were open then. Opening day.
What?
You left Fantasyland without remembering the one that started it all.
The castle?
Nope.
The one that started it all. Okay. We have Peter Pan.
Walt sat on a
Mr.
bench
Toad.
and he watched.
I have the
kids.
carousel.
Oh, you do have the. Oh, I didn't
right
see
there.
It. Sorry. Okay.
I have.
I was thinking,
Okay.
wait a minute.
I'm like, what did we miss in
Sorry,
fantasy?
I didn't see carousel written there.
I think that's it.
Frontierland, though. What was in Frontierland? We're missing Frontierland.
Well, the rafts
Was there,
weren't
like-
open yet.
Was there the stagecoach ride?
No.
No.
Well,
There
no,
had to
not
have been something
opening day.
Frontierland that we're missing. Unless
Well,
there's
they had the shooting.
rides.
Did they have like the shooting gallery or something? I don't know.
Rides, though.
Right. Yeah. No, I think that was it.
The Main Street Cinema was open, but that wasn't a ride.
Yeah. Yeah.
We'll just stop there because I'm
Yeah. Yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
Because
That's good.
Tomorrowland had Autopia, but then there was walkthrough boats. I thought there was like the Phantom boats.
I don't think that was opening. I think it was like 56 or something like that.
I'm gonna put that down.
Okay.
I'm putting it down for mine.
You're fine.
All right. Final answers then.
Final.
All right.
Yeah.
Your answers are including Autopia, Peter Pan's magical ride? Enchanted? What is the full name of that one?
Just
All right,
Peter Pan.
Autopia, Peter Pan, Mr. Toad's Wild Ride, the Mad Tea Party Cups.
Just say the teacups.
Well, fine. Snow White, the Canal Boats, the Carousel, the Railroad, Jungle Cruise, Mark Twain, and you're adding in the Phantom Boats, and you crossed out Casey Jr. Final answer?
Yes.
Okay, my answer is going to include Casey Jr. and Phantom Boats.
Okay.
Okay.
I might regret this.
No,
Okay.
that's fine.
All right, we will put that down as final answer.
Teresa's answer. Yeah.
All right, and your bonus question tonight. Which future president was a media broadcaster on opening day?
Ronald Reagan.
Yeah.
All right, final answer.
Final.
Well, listeners, how did you do listening at home? How do you think they did? Stick around until after the discussion topic, and we will all find out together.
Well, surprise everybody, this week for our discussion topic, James and I are coming to you from Europe, and Teresa's going to talk to us about our Europe escapades for this episode. So happy to be back, and thank you so much to Lynn for stepping into the shoes and helping Teresa out, and you guys sound like you had some awesome guests and stuff, so I'm excited to finally be back podcasting. It's been weird.
It's nice that we get to add some of our European Disney magic to this.
Yes.
There you go. And I'm super excited because you all don't know this, but this is the first time that I've seen or talked to them since they have been gone. Everything's just been messaging and photos. So like that's super exciting too. So I apologize now if we go off track or go off on weird tangents because, you know, that definitely doesn't ever happen.
Not at all. I want to give a quick overview since you're talking about this. So we've talked about it on the podcast before, but I'm going to just give a quick overview. So our trip, James and I teach, and we decided to take the summer to go see. We've hosted exchange students 2 separate years now. We've done 2 students each year with a year break in between. And so we have students in Poland and Germany and Italy and Moldova. And part of this trip that we are doing to Europe is to go visit all of them, but also to go experience things in Europe. So far, when we were recording this, which is on July 16th, we stopped in Turkey to drop my mom off with my brother who lives in Turkey. We flew up and visited our exchange student in Poland, and we did Lublin, Poland, Warsaw, and Krakow. And then
we flew over to the United Kingdom and spent a couple days in London before enjoying a train ride down through the Channel to Disneyland Paris via Lille. And then we spent 2 days there, plus an evening as well, I guess, technically, before going over to Paris proper, spending 2 days there, before heading up to northern Germany to see...
on a train.
On a train, yes. A couple trains, technically, but who's counting? Saw our German exchange student in Braunschweig, and then on our way down to see our Italian student, we stopped in Munich as well for a couple of days. And that's where we are now, northern Italy.
Sounded
you're
like you were
about
saying
half-
you're in Munich right now.
Oh, then so you guys are about halfway through. Maybe like
About.
Just past.
just past the halfway point.
So today we just got into Italy, and we're in a little town called Bassano di Grappa, which is, by the way, amazing. And beautiful, and everything you could ever hope from a European Italian place is amazing. Then we will, after we're spending time with Simone, we will go down and we'll do a day or 2 by ourselves in Rome, and then we're flying over to Moldova, and we're going to do some stuff in Moldova, and then we're flying back to Turkey to spend the last week of our 7-week trip with my brother and his family, and then we'll fly back home. And the day we get back, the day after we get back. Mm-hmm. Day after we get back, I will be back on the podcast doing all that. So that'll be crazy because I'll probably be a little tired, but it'll happen.
Your internal clock's going to be so messed up for that podcast, but we'll make it work.
We did really well the way we timed it here because we got here late, and so we stayed up the whole time. So then by the time it was bedtime, we woke up and it seemed like everything was normal. So we did pretty good. So, but going back is always the harder one.
It's going to be longer, but we do get in at about 9:30 at night, so we can go right to sleep again, and fingers crossed, avoid the jet lag.
Fingers crossed.
Well, we're going to focus on all of the cool, fun Disney things the two of you have kind of weaved into your adventure. Like you already mentioned, you did get to go spend some time at Disneyland Paris, which is super exciting. James, it was your first time, Tag, your second. And there's some unique situations going on at Disneyland Paris right now. There's all sorts of cast members on strike, and so that's changed things. You had some fun with weather. So it's more than just a trip report. It's all sorts of extra stuff too. So
yeah,
before we get into it, can you talk to people like myself who've not been there? It's called Disneyland Paris, but you kind of alluded to this already. It's not like right there. It's not like Disneyland is in Anaheim.
Correct. So Disneyland Paris, I would say, is about...
It was about a 30 to 40 minute train ride from the heart of Paris.
East from Paris.
Yep.
Okay.
We got there through the train. Like I said, we went through Lille because Lille connected down to where Disneyland Paris is via the train. There's a train stop there that works really well to get there. Was it Marne-la-Vie-Chessy, I believe? Excuse my French. It's not good.
Yeah. I didn't have a picture of it, but yeah.
So did you guys feel it was easy to get to, kind of complicated, or how did that feel?
It's very easy. What's great about Disneyland Paris is the train station is right there. So at Disneyland in California, like you would get off the tram from the parking structure, is like you get off the train for Paris.
Oh, that's nice. So then
All
you guys...
public transit.
Yeah.
Oh, nice. So you guys was it an Airbnb, if I remember?
No, it was a...
what they call apart hotels. So it's kind of like a long-term stay hotel where some of them have little kitchens or kitchenettes. They expect people to be there for a couple of days. And so we were one tram stop away from there. So every night and every morning we would take the tram to and from for the one stop. Train.
You said tram.
I guess it's a train.
He's thinking Disneyland, the tram.
It's the RER.
The first ride of the day, Tag. It was the first ride of the day.
It was pretty convenient from where we were. We'd walk, what was it, maybe...
It was about half a mile.
Yeah, but it was like 5 to 10 minutes maybe. It was the equivalent of walking from the Hojo to the front gates, was from our hotel room to the train station. The train would take... It was literally one stop, like James said.
It was like 3 minutes.
It took like 3 minutes, and you get off and you literally go right through security, and then you're right there kind of in the front of everything.
Sweet. So you did 2.5 days. What was your first night? What fun things did you see, do, and explore? And what familiar things did you maybe see, do, and explore?
What was your first impression, James?
My first impression? Okay, well, so to get in, we had to go through security, and they have like a permanent security structure, which is really nice. And instead of people checking the bags, they have X-ray machines set up that all
like
your
at the
bags would
airport.
run through.
Nice.
Just less strict.
Well, and
But
quicker too, probably.
Yeah, made for a really good entry experience into it. But then it was just beautiful, like as you'd expect from like Disney level quality management and the expectations that have been set up for the park in Paris. It's just really well maintained. The horticulture is great. It just looks really nice, especially like when you turn and it's like, bam, there's the Disneyland Hotel, which is under renovation technically while we're here, but you still get the exterior and it's gorgeous.
Yeah, so what's interesting was, because I went about 11 years ago now to Disneyland Paris. Was my first time. I was only there for 1 day. This time we were there for 2.5 days. 2 park days and like a half day. Their downtown Disney area is called Disney Village. And what's interesting is Disney again took over like full ownership of the Disneyland Paris like properties a few years ago. And so I think they're going through and trying to do a lot of things to renovate and bring things up to the normal Disney standard, because since the park opened, it hasn't been very profitable for them. I think it is now, but it was a struggle for a long time. So I think they let and we'll talk about this a little bit later too, probably. But there was definitely some rough areas inside the parks that I think James and I both said to each other a couple times that, man, we really take Disneyland for granted. With we complain about. Sometimes, there's little things that we're like, oh, there's like a chipped paint or
a light bulb's out.
Mm-hmm. But man, coming to Disneyland Paris, I mean, it's still a gorgeous park. Don't get me wrong, but there definitely was not the same level of maintenance that Disneyland has. Yeah. And I've never even when it was at its worst, Disneyland, when it was at its worst, like in the 90s when Paul Pressler, that's like a famous time period, it was not as bad as Disneyland Paris is in certain areas. Now, there are a lot of areas that they're refurbishing right now, and it seems like the areas that we went to that had been refurbished recently are all wonderful. So I think they're just making up for the, it just turned 30 last year. So I think they're making up for 30 years of somewhat neglect, maybe. But what's interesting is, unlike Disneyland, you go through security, like James said. There's the Disneyland Hotel, which is kind of like the entrance to Disneyland. You go under the hotel, and it brings you in, and there's the train station and everything. Unlike Disneyland, where California Adventure is right opposite Disneyland, Walt Disney Studios Park, which is their Hollywood Studios kind of Disney California Adventure kind of park, is at a 45-degree angle from it.
That would be 90 degrees.
90 degrees. So if you look at Disneyland Park and you turn 90 degrees.
90 degrees would be a full left turn?
Yeah, full left turn. The Studios Park is over there.
There's your math lesson for the day.
Yeah. and then kind of another 90-degree turn from that is the Disney Village that, funny enough, has an Earl of Sandwich, which we ate at.
So is going under the hotel just getting into that area, or is going under the hotel getting into the park?
That's just into Disneyland Park.
Okay, got it. So what's the entrance? Is it kind of like our Esplanade where there's not really, I don't want to say a no man's land, but what does it look like when you're kind of in that hub?
Oh, gosh. When you get through security,
yeah.
It is like you're already in the park. There's so many flowers, and there's water features, which I think they're refurbishing with the hotel right now, because the fountains and stuff weren't going, but there was still water there. Their floral Mickey is in front of all of that because you can't see it when you come in. So that's all in front of the Disneyland Hotel, and it is gorgeous, this area. One thing that I found that was a little weird for me was, unlike the Esplanade that's big and open, and so you have a lot of options for crowd flow and everything, because the paths were a little smaller and they were kind of, it's almost like a bigger version of the walkways that are over in front of Sleeping Beauty Castle where you meet Tinkerbell and everything.
Yep.
So imagine that on a much bigger scale.
Wow.
Yeah, they do have somewhat of an open space right when you get through security, but as soon as you're committed to going to Disneyland Park, you are in that winding, whimsical land.
Holy cow. So, okay. See, I thought that, for those of you, we're on a Zoom call right now, so Tag's showing me a photo. Yeah, I thought the photos that I've always seen that you're basically showing me is that photo in front of the Disneyland Hotel. I always thought that was just the entrance, but that's like their Esplanade.
That's their park. Yep.
Wow.
Mm-hmm.
It's reminiscent of Alice in Wonderland and the Queen of Hearts maze thing.
Yep, which is also in this park.
Yes,
actually.
It is. Well, tell me about the first night.
Okay, so the first night we got there, we went and looked at the front gates. I wanted to show James how different it was from Disneyland. We walked up to a side gate because you could kind of go to the side of the hotel. We found that later, at night, that's where they kind of funneled everybody to exit. Sure. So we went there and we could almost almost see Main Street.
You were peeking.
Yeah. And we walked over and we saw what's interesting is for the Walt Disney Studios, they have like a security checkpoint, not security, but like a ticket checkpoint really far away from their front gate, like really far, like to even get near, unlike Disneyland or California Adventure, where you can like walk up to the gate even if it's closed and like take photos, you couldn't even get like close to it. They wanted to see your ticket that you had a valid admission for in there. So that was weird. But then we went to Disney Village.
Yeah. And I liked a lot of what Disney Village seemed like it was trying to be. There was a good mix of kind of the shops, and you could tell it was like Disney-owned shops throughout. So, you had the big World of Disney as the first corner anchor store to draw you in. And then there were some smaller ones along the way, including, of course, a Lego store, which was wonderful because we got to see the Hocus Pocus 30th anniversary set on display.
Yes.
We caught the last day that it was premiering there, so that was pretty wonderful for us. And then we just kind of walked along and looked at some of the food options, and nothing jumped out to us as like, yes, you got to eat here. And Earl of Sandwich was the last stop along the way through the village. I would say, it's definitely much smaller than what we're used to at Downtown Disney.
Yes.
A fourth of the size, maybe.
Yes. Well, what's interesting is you go through Disney Village, And on the other side of Disney Village is there's a walkway that connects all of the Disney hotels. That's not the Disneyland Hotel.
And it goes around a lagoon, similar to what you experience at Disney World.
Yeah. So it felt like to us, after we ate at Earl of Sandwich, which tasted basically exactly like Earl of Sandwich in the U.S.
I even got like a taste of ranch, which I hadn't really had in Europe. So
yeah. So we walked around because I just wanted to kind of peek in the hotels to see what they were like. And it felt like, I told James about halfway through, I said, I feel like we're walking around World Showcase in Epcot. Like that's kind of the feel. They were very big walkways, very wide walkways around this lagoon that kind of just went to, there was 3 hotels we looked at. There was a 4th that was back that you had to like, we just didn't want to, it was like their campground kind of like thing.
Sequoia Lodge.
The Sequoia Lodge. The Hotel New York that they just renovated to be Marvel, we went in there and they did an amazing job with that hotel. There was a couple stores in there and just the decor, like they did a really nice job. It was really nice. It was very reminiscent of some of the hotels and stuff at Disney World and probably what Pixar Place Hotel will feel like when it's done.
What's pretty astounding too about that one is the exterior without trying too hard. If you look at it, you're like, yeah, that's a silhouette of New York.
Yeah.
But it's very subtle, which is pretty well done for what it accomplishes.
Mm-hmm.
I'm, of course, looking at Google Maps while you're talking through all this. Do you want... there's a basketball court, it looks like, that's over there that has Iron Man and Captain America painted on it. So, like, the sky view of it, you can see them.
Oh, yeah, we didn't get out to the Hero Training Zone. That was like a special entry thing.
Yeah, so we just walked around the Lake Buena Vista that's there.
So, okay, so the front, yep, I see. So, like, where the walkway is. So, yeah, you just saw the...
Yeah.
Like the front courtyard thing.
Yeah, and we went into the hotel so there's that like front middle area, and we walked over by the buffet because there's kind of like 2 wings of the hotel that kind of branch out towards the lake. We went onto the one that's, if you're looking at the satellite view to the right, we kind of went down that way, but then we turned around and came back. It's a really nice area, very picturesque, very quiet. Really easy walking distance. I thought, without something like a monorail or whatever, it was kind of convenient for people staying there to get there. Also, if you're looking at the satellite view, Teresa, if you go to the other side of Disney Village, that big, long, if Disneyland is to your left, the giant building that says Disney Express as part of it, that's the train station.
Oh.
Yeah.
Wow.
So to the south, there's that parking lot, and you see the train tracks, and you think maybe that's the station, but that's not the station. The station's the other side.
That's really cool. That's like darn near the front gates.
Yes.
It's super convenient, especially in the morning getting there.
Yeah, no kidding. And at night, because then your tired feet don't have to,
well,
to go too far.
Nope.
No?
Night was a whole different adventure.
Oh, that's not confusing.
It's easy to get to the transit, but the transit is full.
No. Because they're doing construction, they have, when you leave Disneyland or Disney Studios Park, you have to walk, if you leave Disneyland as an example, you have to walk towards the Studios Park, around in front of World of Disney, and then back over to the train station because they're doing some pavement work or something.
This is the spot that was down. We had to get all the way over here.
Oh, yeah.
We had to get past the movie theater.
Yeah.
Okay.
It was quite a long walk.
So I need to go through some of these restaurants that I'm seeing because you mentioned Earl of Sandwich. I can understand why you chose that because it looks like you've got like the Rainforest Cafe, but they also have a McDonald's. There's a Five Guys.
There's a Five Guys, yeah.
Five Guys has been everywhere in Europe.
Really?
Yeah.
I've probably seen almost as many Five Guys as I have McDonald's.
Really?
There's so many of them, it feels like.
Some places definitely more than others.
Yeah.
But yes, they're super common, it seems.
I'm surprised you didn't try Billy Bob's Country Western Saloon. That just seems very you.
We looked at the menu, and I'll give you a quick spoiler alert for basically so I'll sum up our food experience in like 2 sentences.
Mm-hmm.
Not good.
Mediocre.
Yeah.
And overpriced.
Overpriced.
For what it was.
More expensive than like pricing here?
Yes.
Yeah.
So
especially for what you get.
Billy Bob's offer, it seemed like, was like an appetizer, entree, and maybe a dessert. I don't know if the dessert was included, but it was 45 euros a person. And so that would work out to about $50 or $52 per person. And it was just, like I said, just entree, appetizer kind of business. So
Dang. And then
So
it looks
a lot
like
of their-
shopping. There's only like 1, 2, 3, 4, like 5-ish things. So yeah, definitely much smaller.
Yeah.
And it's very Disney themed consistently.
Yeah.
I mean, that's nice. I
Yeah.
do like that.
Yeah, so for the food in general, like we found that so things that I would normally find as like comfort food, like, oh, that'll be a good idea, is like a hot dog. But they pre-make a lot of their food. So like if you go to order a hot dog, I don't like mustard, like they call it over there American mustard, but I don't really like mustard, like plain yellow mustard.
Yeah.
And so their hot dogs come with ketchup and mustard, and it's like already on it for you. So when you order it, they like turn around and grab it out of a thing and give it to you, and
it's
there's
just-
not really, So I didn't want any of the hot dogs. We did buy like
We did get a hot dog at Casey's Corner, the equivalent of a Coke Corner inside of Disney.
Yeah, and it was like kind of like a barbecue thing. It was okay, but it wasn't like what I want. I kind of wanted a chili dog, but they didn't really have something like that either.
Since
Because
we're
I
on
think
the
the chili
topic
dog
of,
had like mustard on it, and I was like, why are you putting mustard on a chili dog? But anyway.
so since we're on the topic of food, let's just keep going down that road. So did you get to try things like churros? Did you? I think one of the things to do at
I don't even
Disneyland
think I
Paris
saw a
is like
churro.
I didn't see a
I
single
think
churro.
there's wine carts there where you can buy like beverages, adult beverages, like in their
It
hub
was
area.
wine carts, but they definitely had wine available
Yeah.
at restaurants.
I would say that we didn't really drink a lot of. On this trip in general, we haven't drank hardly any alcohol because it's been warm. So, like in Disneyland Paris, it was fairly. I mean, it was comfortable.
But you do need to talk about the drink that you found.
Oh, okay. So there's a drink. It's a French drink, and it's called Tropico,
Oh.
and it's all over Disneyland Paris. But we didn't really find it in Paris. We found it at one place in Paris.
One place only.
But it's really popular. And it's kind of like it's like some type of fruit drink, but it's like carbonated. I don't know. It was good.
So like a soda?
when I had it. Yeah, when I had it out of the tap or whatever at Disneyland, it was very good. Which reminds me, they don't have paper cups. They have plastic cups, like reusable cups, like you would like buy, like plastic that were Coke, no lid. No straw, and when you were done eating, they'd give you like plastic utensils too, but they were like heavier duty plastic utensils. And when you were done, they had these sections that you would take your tray to, and you would put your food in, like your food garbage in one chute. You'd put your plate in a different area. You'd put your plastic reusable cup in one of the things because they would just wash them and reuse them.
Yeah.
And so in the beginning, the first time, we didn't understand what was going on. We were like, do we take our it was an Earl of Sandwich. We were like, do we take our tray? This is a plastic cup. What do I do with the plastic cup? Yeah. So anyway, so that was totally different, which I think is great from a environment standpoint.
Super. Well, now my question is, if you get a drink and it's the plastic cup, are you still allowed to walk around with your beverage and then you just dump, take your cup to whatever? That's cool. I wasn't sure.
At least we did, and we didn't get yelled at.
We saw other people doing it too.
And we did return it to a different restaurant.
Right.
Yeah.
Yep.
But they're all the same cup everywhere. So it wasn't,
That's
and it was like the one
interesting.
size.
I like that. I like that a lot.
The other thing that's interesting in Europe, which Max's family told us about, is there's a law or something that the way that you order a soda, it's not like small, medium, large. It's like they always put like how many centiliters, I think is what the measurement unit is. And there's a law or something that they have to have the marking on the cup so you can see that like for sure you're getting that many. So on all the cups, even like if you buy a beer, they have these like etched into the glass for like beer and stuff. Like
Really?
it's
That's interesting.
yeah, so
Different. Very cool.
now
So,
quickly, we had two pretty decent meals.
that was
we
my next question. What was your favorite food?
Well, we got a reservation for two dining places. One we got before we went, which is their equivalent of the Blue Bayou, which is in Pirates of the Caribbean. It's called Captain Jack's.
Captain Jack.
And super cool. I actually think it might be cooler than Blue Bayou.
Atmosphere,
Not the food.
Atmosphere is cool.
I was going to say, the photos you sent me looked pretty pretty awesome for that one.
It was neat because it had a couple different levels. It had like trees and lantern lights, and there was just a lot in it that made it feel like this could be kind of like a pirate eatery that he's taken over.
And it was more themed to like the Caribbean than like New Orleans.
Sure, that makes sense. Yep.
And that's kind of what the whole theming was throughout the Pirates attraction too. Is it was definitely Caribbean themed, like the loading area and stuff is all kind of that look. So we ate there. The food there was okay.
Fine.
The service we had was really good. We did have a weird little hiccup because I think our waitress that we had at the beginning, I think it was her time, like it was a shift change.
Sure.
So there was a period of time where we didn't get checked on it like at all. And then we have a different guy and we were like, oh, that's what happened.
And that was between our appetizer and our entree too. So we probably waited about 20 minutes between finishing that before we got the food.
But we didn't care because we were just enjoying the atmosphere.
It's great.
And they had a birthday. They had this cool birthday cake they brought out, and they did this birthday thing for this family near us. So we were like, oh my goodness, this is awesome.
That's fun.
The other one was they had a restaurant in Adventureland, and I think that probably would be our best meal we had at Disneyland Paris.
Definitely was.
And we got that like an hour before we were going to do it because we were looking around at all the food places, and they have a lot of buffets, and this was a buffet, and it was all like...
It was Hakuna Matata, the Lion King one, wasn't it?
No, it was Agrabah.
Oh, Agrabah, right. Oh, yeah.
The Agrabah Cafe.
The Agrabah Cafe, yeah.
And they had like a lot of
It was like Middle Eastern buffet style.
It was really good. They had a ton of different options. The seating was great. The service we had was wonderful. It was our best meal that we had, I would say, at the resort.
Yeah.
Nice.
Easily. Like your Earl sandwich probably is the next best one.
Correct.
Well, you can't go wrong with Earl. So, did you try any food when you were over in the Studios Park or just at Disney? Because you didn't spend a full day at Studios Park, did you?
We got park hoppers, and we only spent, half a day at the studios?
We spent the morning, we hopped. And
the second day.
And then, the second day. And then we hopped back for one thing.
Yeah.
And then we left. Yeah, so...
Now... What was our favorite thing at Studios Park?
Let's stick with the food before we
Okay,
jump
food first. What did you have?
We had the breakfast thing. I had the sausage and french fries. That was pretty good.
Sausage and french fries, very weird.
Very breakfast.
I think that sounds wonderful.
Poured ketchup on it. It was good. You had something else there.
It came in a cup? Is that what you said, the sausage?
Yeah, so it was like a sausage link or something inside the cup with the fries. Made for easy traveling. So that worked out pretty well. It was from one of the food carts over near Remy's Adventure.
Fun.
Yeah.
And that seemed like, in my opinion, what would have been some of the best food probably in that park from those carts. Or the Remy's restaurant seemed like it looked like it was going to be something good, but it also looked like it was going to be very pricey to do.
Oh, sure.
And I think it was a sit-down that was going to take some time. And on our second day, we had limited amounts of time.
I got a Nutella waffle, which... was very good. However, their waffles, they tasted good, but the texture, like it almost was like as you bit it, it kind of had like a grainy texture to it because it was very like sugary, but it was good. And Nutella's like everywhere. Nutella's just good everywhere.
Yeah. I think that's actually the only thing we ate in the Studios Park.
That is the only thing we ate in the Studios Park. They had a PIM kitchen there, PIM test kitchen, but it was a buffet.
Yeah, I see that.
So we didn't do that.
Experience.
Nope.
Yeah, James was like, "You gonna try a panini?" And I'm like, "Oh, geez."
He's like, "Please don't. I don't. Yeah, please don't." And then it looks like there's Stark Factory was also a restaurant there.
Also a buffet, I think so. Or else it opened up later than when we were there. So.
Yeah.
I think so.
I think so.
I might be wrong on that one. So
we didn't really look at that one.
So. I think that's part of the culture is there's something to be valued of sitting and eating. So,
yeah. Oh, yeah. Definitely.
Yeah. Otherwise, the other interesting food things, since we said there were no churro carts, was the popcorn cart. Something Europeans do with popcorn is they have something called sweet popcorn. So instead of just salty popcorn, they do it with like a sugar kind of deal. And so you can do sweet popcorn, salty popcorn, or a mix of both.
To me, it tasted like what we have in the U.S. is kettle corn.
I was going to say, does it get caramelized like kettle corn does, or do they just sprinkle it on afterwards like you do salt?
No, it's like cooked. Because there was definitely some like burnt sections, like where they maybe have left it a little bit. And then, did you say that there also was crepe carts?
Oh, I did not mention the crepe carts.
Crepe carts, but we didn't get crepes because we were waiting for Paris to have crepes, so we didn't get any crepes. I just want to talk about the couple of attractions we did in studios, then we can be done with studios.
You and I are on the same wavelength. So I was like, since that was my next thing was, since we're in studios, let's talk about the attractions.
Halfway across the world, but you're still so
We still got it.
I guess.
We still got it. So I would say we had 2 fantastic attraction experiences in studios. One was they took what used to be the Rock and Roller Coaster and they turned it into an Avengers coaster.
Oh.
And apparently it had just like reopened after being down for something like just the week before we were there. And I thought it was great. I thought the pre-show was amazing. I thought that the ride itself was really great. It was Captain Marvel flying around, and it was very much like Hyperspace Mountain at Disneyland, but with Marvel. And of course, you're in Rock and Roller Coaster, so you're going through like loops and corkscrews, and like it was cool.
Is this the one that's called Marvel Avengers Campus?
It's inside of there. I think it's like Flight Force.
Oh.
Yeah.
Google Maps doesn't have the correct names on here, though.
They got work to do.
Well, it is the newer area for it. So.
Yeah. But it over by where Pym and the Stark Factory is across from Spider. Okay.
Yeah. Yep. Theming wonderful. I'm a sucker for this attraction layout and coasters as a whole. So yeah,
is this
definitely a highlight?
Is this the one that when you're in the pre-show, I think there's at least an Iron Man suit, maybe an animatronic.
Yeah.
Yep.
Memory.
Very cool.
Our other one I want James to talk about because we were shocked.
Best attraction in studios, maybe even in all of Disneyland Paris, in my opinion.
In his opinion.
Crush Coaster.
That one looks fun.
So we had not looked at this one ahead of time. So we had no idea what we were getting into other than it was like a coaster that was also a dark ride.
So you're thinking what? Like little slow thing, or what are your thoughts?
I was thinking that it was going to be like a little tamer than the Seven Dwarves Mine Train in Disney World.
Okay.
Because it's like a kid's attraction.
Mm-hmm.
The cart, for people who don't know what it is, you're in a shell, like a turtle shell, like Crush. Mm-hmm. And it pivots around, and you're back to back with
it's 4 people total in the car.
Yeah, so you got 2 people facing one direction, 2 people facing the other, and it spins. And part of the attraction is when you look at the facade, at one point it comes out and spins around in front of you and then goes back in the building. And I was like, well, that doesn't look like it's very fast. It's
so, James, what was your thought going, and what did you think what?
I had no clue.
You had no clue?
I was totally... I came into Disneyland Paris with minimal knowledge. I tried to avoid doing research, looking at park maps, whatever. Tage had told me he's very excited to show me all around Disneyland Paris. I'm like, whatever, I'll take the new eyes and experience and everything. And so as we're going through
So you had no expectation for this?
Not a clue. Other than I knew consistently it had the longest queue throughout the park.
We bought a Premier Access.
So you're like, this must be good. This is where everybody's going.
We bought a Premier Access for it because we didn't.
Paris has you just pay per attraction. It's not like Genie where you pay and it unlocks all of these.
You can, but it's like what you hoped for, Teresa. It's very expensive.
Good.
Yeah,
which did keep the lines down for Premier Access.
Yeah, I think Premier Access was like $160 a person.
Ooh.
So if you're going to buy it for the day, you better darn well put it in.
Yeah, no kidding.
Otherwise, that's the second day in the park.
All right, so tell me more about the Crush Coaster, James.
Yeah, so it was awesome because it started off kind of that slow dark ride. You had that experience of going outside right away, which Tage and I were thinking this might be the most thrilling part of the attraction.
I was worried.
But then it just kind of meandered through the beginning of getting into the current and kind of very much that feeling of the dark ride. And then suddenly it's Space Mountain.
I wish you were filming so we could have seen Tage's reaction.
It's in the dark,
because
too.
You know
it's in the dark.
That he probably was thinking it was nothing and then all of a sudden dying because you got scared on Gadget Go Coaster last time.
No. Both of us went, when it went down, and then we were laughing.
Sudden. Yeah.
And we got done with it, and we were like, that's amazing.
You're like, what just happened?
It wasn't like we didn't really want to spend, what was it, 16 euros a person to skip the line again for it.
Yeah.
But I was like, now I know why this has the longest wait in the park consistently, like all day long.
Because it would have been an 80-minute wait for us.
Yeah.
Oh, yep.
So Flight Force, Crush Coaster, we decided not to do Tower because it was also a long wait and we didn't want to pay the thing. We had done Tower, in the US. It's the same one that was in California Adventure. And we wanted to get back over because we were trying to catch one of the most amazing things that we were not prepared for.
Again, wonderful surprise.
Wonderful surprise. So we were in Disneyland on the first day and we decided there was this parade.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. I've seen that one.
And we walked over. It was their 30th anniversary parade. And we're like, okay, let's catch it in the hub because that's convenient for us. We don't need to go to Main Street. We'll just, catch it in the hub.
Because we were coming over from Frontierland, and so we were just in front of the Dragon's Den, which sadly wasn't open.
Holy thank God we did, because this parade comes up Main Street and starts to circle the hub and then stops. And the characters get off the floats and they get on these stages that are in the hub. And they dance and they move from stage to stage. They have different characters. They have different music. And they have these, parade dancers that are out there dancing. And oh my God, it was it was what, half an hour?
25 30 minutes of like
just
dancing
the hub
music.
stuff?
Yes.
Wow.
And and they had the song, which I liked the song a lot. But that song was for the parade. It was their morning. Like when we got there the first morning, we wanted to ride the train first because I missed the train last time I was there. So the train wasn't opening right away because Mickey and Minnie had to come out onto the train station, like, welcome everybody. Yeah. And they played this song like 8 times.
It just kept repeating and repeating. Like, I think it took us 15 minutes to get on the train.
Yeah.
Just to sit there and watch them do their little dance.
James loved the little dance. But this show we thought was this parade, which I think we ended up just calling a show. We liked it so much that we made a point when we had our studios day. We're like, we need to get back to the park to catch this again, because the first time we went to catch it, it started raining.
Oh,
and so they came to the hub.
The first time, the second day. So the second time we were trying to see it.
Yeah,
gotcha.
They came up Main Street and it started raining, and I'm like, they're not going to do the show. So they literally went around the hub and went right back down Main Street.
Yep. And we're just a normal parade now.
There's just the characters. There was Goofy and Mickey and Minnie and everybody, and Donald and Daisy.
About 20 or so characters out there. A mix of face characters and non-face. So.
Mm-hmm. And there's some more unique ones, because I think Miguel's in that parade too, and so it's not just the classics.
Tiana,
the Tiana that we saw in the parade, incredible.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
I just could not get over this. I think I would say that this parade performance thing was probably one of the highlights of our trip. It was that
awesome.
good.
It was the best thing at Disneyland Paris, 100%. It was a surprise.
The best?
The best thing at Disneyland Paris.
Better than the fireworks show?
Better than the fireworks show. I mean, the drone show was great, but that's for something else. Okay. I think it was just such a surprise for what it was.
Sure.
And just like the incredible effort and talent of all of the cast members dancing and
for so
characters.
long.
Yeah, it just kept going, and they didn't stop. They stayed in character. They just kept going,
awesome.
and it was a good show no matter where you were looking. Absolutely incredible. I am so sad that we don't have anything like this.
I would say this is probably one of the best pieces of entertainment I've ever seen Disney do.
Wow.
Yeah, I thought it was that good.
Dang. So I want to talk more about entertainment, but I know that was you were super excited about the fireworks show, so we're going to leave that for last. So we're skipping over entertainment. Let's talk about attractions at Disneyland Paris. What were your favorites? What were talk about some of the differences maybe?
Talk about
that
you.
Sort of stuff.
Don't talk about me.
Okay, so Disney Resort favorites would have been Big Thunder Mountain.
Ooh.
I concur. I think it is my favorite Big Thunder variant.
Yeah, I agree with that.
Variant. I like that terminology.
Well, because Disney World is different. It's the same concept and story, but it's totally different than Disneyland's.
Oh, no, I know. I just like that you used variant because of the Loki show.
Yeah. Oh, well, that too.
Look at that. You had a nice little tie-in and you didn't even realize you did it. Good job.
Now, I will say for those who don't know, you get on the train on basically kind of like if you were to equate it to Disneyland, it'd be like you'd get on where the Mark Twain dock is. And then you go under the river and you come up on what is there, Tom Sawyer Island, but it's just Big Thunder. And the entire attraction is on this island. And what's amazing is at the end, you go around this corner, you whip around this corner, and you go down what feels like forever. And it goes so fast. And then you pop out next to the queue. And like you come out really fast and then you like slow it, like, oh, it's great.
It's so much more of a satisfying ending because I always feel like that's one of the things that holds Big Thunder back is you have that anticipation and then it's just a subtle drop and then you weasel your way through town. This one, you get the full thrilling experience, you come on up and then you hit a quick break.
Super fun.
It also had one of the longest waits in the park consistently.
I think it'd be fun just to stand there and watch it. Like watch the trains going all crazy around the island.
Yep, we waited in line twice for this attraction, and the least amount of time we waited for it was 40 minutes. And you know, it's just like a normal queue. You're kind of slowly moving through. So we watched, I don't know, a dozen or so of the trains come out of this tunnel fast at the end. But it was worth it for sure.
Yep.
Super fun.
And what was your other one?
Other highlight, probably Hyperspace Mountain. But the second time we rode it, because the first time we rode it, the audio didn't work.
Oh, fun.
And that made for a very weird experience. Like,
yeah, because especially, you're probably like, does it just not have music?
That's what
it's your first time on it. You're like, oh, they just do it differently here. Okay.
Yeah, I'm like, I can't believe this is permanent, and they don't have music.
Yeah, theirs is permanent. And again, for those who aren't familiar with Disneyland Paris, you load outside, basically. You're covered. Like, you can't see the loading platform from the land, but you're outside, and you load, and you go in this tunnel. And the original theming for Space Mountain in Paris was you were getting launched out of a Jules Verne cannon. So they used to have this whole mechanism that like would come back and you could see the car like go. They've gotten rid of that whole mechanism. It's just open to the outside. So that was also weird because like you launch to go into hyperspace, but like you're outside and then you're inside again.
Oh, sure.
There's also a loop and a corkscrew.
Something like that, yeah.
Yeah, so different than our Space Mountain.
Thrilling.
But the second time we rode it, it had sound, and we were like, that was so much better. It is very awkward.
I understand now.
It is very awkward when you're flying, and there's like laser blasts from like a TIE fighter and all this, and there's literally no sound. All you heard was like roller coaster noise and people screaming.
Look at that. You had a nice little ride blip, and you didn't even realize that you were having a slight...
something like that.
We also had a Star Tours destination that we've never had in the U.S.
Where'd you go?
We were in space over Endor, I think, or was it Bespin?
I don't remember.
We went through an asteroid field and we found Boba Fett and Slave 2.
Yes.
Oh.
Which was awesome because there was a part. For those of you who have seen episode 2, Boba Fett drops off that, or Jango Fett drops off the sonic imploder thing that goes like, and you have that in Star Tours, which was super cool.
That's neat. That's super neat.
Yeah. The thing that we were so surprised at, though, is there was this little girl who was dressed as Leia. Hair, white Leia outfit. Yeah. We're like, she's going to be the spy. They didn't choose her for the spy.
That would have been perfect.
Missed opportunity.
Great.
Missed opportunity is right. So, Tank, what were your favorites?
I liked Phantom Manor. James, not impressed because he thinks it didn't tell a cohesive story.
It felt incomplete from the story standard. And that might just be because of how full Haunted Mansion is at Disneyland with things.
Sure.
For example, the seance room is just the crystal ball sitting on the table.
No cards, no instruments, no...
Nothing floating around.
There's some gargoyles around the outside of the room, but yeah.
Like it's there.
Yeah. I will
Plus,
say,
the story
though,
for that is much different than the story for our mansion.
Yeah, it's definitely the bride and whatever. I think the foyer room is better in Paris, because when you walk into it, for those of you who may not know what I'm talking about, the room that you get in before you get into the stretching rooms, they close it off when you get in there, and it looks decrepit and old, and then the narrator says, like, Beauty lived here once, and then, like, it transforms and it looks new again, which is an amazing effect.
That was outstanding.
That's cool.
And, of course, different stretching room portraits and all that, because it's a different story. Their Doom Buggy loading area was way cooler, because instead of us, where you have nothing... Mm-hmm. And during Haunted Mansion Holiday, you've got the cool, like, Oogie Boogie stuff. They have a grand staircase with the bride standing there, and it looks super cool.
That was great.
And then for me, I really like the graveyard scene, because unlike the U.S., they put people in mausoleums and stuff here, not in, like, buried things necessarily. So you kind of go into this, like, weird mausoleum underground thing. And what was really cool was the mayor of the town. You go through this kind of, like, Old West town, but it's, like, it's all ghosts.
Yeah.
And the mayor, as you come into this town, is the ghost host from Disneyland, because he says, "Welcome, foolish mortals," and then, like, he lifts his hat, and then he says some other part of his, like, spiel. But it's, like, obviously, like, you know, they took his spiel and they, like, cut out sections to make him. And I was like, oh, it's our narrator from Disneyland. It's so cool.
Oh, that's interesting. I don't think I knew that. That's really interesting.
Yeah.
The other attraction I want to give a shout out to is Pirates.
Yes.
Because Pirates is fascinating because the story is rearranged. It's very weird going through when you have expectations of what order you're supposed to be going through Pirates.
Yeah.
And it's not the same. So I think this one goes faster and probably has a little less, like, town scenes, especially where it feels to go slow. But
when James says faster, not only does he mean, like, the attraction time is shorter, like, because Pirates is so long, but your boat goes faster.
Yeah.
But one of the coolest experiences is you go down a waterfall into the battle scene right outside of the town with the ship. And it's very just kind of exciting of, I'm just running in between these cannonballs.
Yeah, so you get in your boat and you float through, like, the like, restaurant area. And then you immediately go up, which we're used to going down. You go up.
Yeah.
And you're up on the second level of, kind of like in Disneyland where you come into the big room with the pirate ship. Yeah. Imagine where the cannons are on your right. Imagine that your boat is, like, on top of that wall. That's kind of like where it is. And they have a cool effect, which, this is great, by the way. The first day, we went through this attraction twice. And there was a bunch of malfunctioning animatronics. One of them is up on this wall, and he was just hanging there, and we didn't understand what the heck was going on, because it looked like he was trying to climb. I don't know. It was weird. Yeah. But when we went through the second day, all of the animatronics that were not working the day before were fixed.
Nice. That's magic right there.
Yeah, oh yeah. Which also probably explained why Hyperspace Mountain had music too. But yeah. The poor auctioneer was, like, hunched over and, like, moving awkwardly. Yeah. There was another one at one of the end scenes in the cave. Yeah. It was rough.
Wow.
But you're up on this wall, right? And so you can see the ship kind of, like, through the stuff, and you can see when they fix the guy the second time, he swings over your boat like this, and he moves a little bit. It's not just like a static animatronic.
It was cool.
And you go around the corner, and then you drop down the waterfall, and like James said, you imagine the waterfall being where you come out of the Dead Men Tell No Tales cave, like right into the battle. That's where this comes out, and, like, cannonballs are going off just like in Disneyland. So you go around and you go through the same kind of scenes like we have. I want to say that there's less air, like, everywhere you look is like a fully realized set. Unlike Disneyland, where sometimes you'll look and there's, like, nothing there really. There's stuff, like, everywhere. Mm-hmm. The auction scene was pretty much the same. Mm-hmm. They did have a couple different characters. Like, I noticed there was a gentleman in with the pirates that looked like he was from, like, Asia. Like he had, like, a ponytail, and, like, which we don't have. And then when you get towards the end, this was actually a really cool effect. You get to the burning village, and you go. There's that tunnel you go into in Disneyland, and you go down another waterfall there. And as you go down, it's like dynamite going off, but that's where they take your picture. So it masks the flashing because it's like dynamite going off, so it, like, fits with the theme. So that was really cool, because I was like, what? Oh,
and then you're in the caverns.
Yeah, then you're in the caverns, and then you disembark, and you're done.
So they're alive, and then they die. Whereas ours is they're dead, and then they come back to life.
Yeah.
Yep.
So I think they're both good. I think both versions are very good. I wouldn't say that, like, this is an inferior one. It's just different. And I actually really liked it. I thought it added some thrill with the way that you kind of enter some of those scenes.
And I think this can help segue to probably the next thing we want to talk about is how nice, like, the queues and the atmosphere are. Because there's actually, like, theming inside the queue similar to the Disney World experience where you actually feel like you're going into, like, a pirate experience. It was well designed to have that going in there. And so it really kind of helps set the mood versus kind of the limited space that we have at Disneyland.
You still didn't have a nice themed Peter Pan like in Florida, though, Teresa.
Oh, that's a great one. That one's great. I want to hear about Indiana Jones because this one is way different. No, you didn't get to do it?
We did. It was a roller coaster. It was very short. It was probably, twice the length of Gadget's Go Coaster, maybe?
Yeah, a little longer.
Really?
It was really rough. There's a loop in it.
So, kind of like the Matterhorn meets Gadget Go Coaster.
Lackluster.
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah.
Well,
it's mostly outdoors. It's also kind of like Goofy Sky School a little bit.
Yeah.
Oh,
yeah.
Okay.
That level of thrill, but...
Yeah.
Well, that's disappointing.
We did it once, and we walked away like, huh?
Yeah.
Well, it was an experience. That's what it was. James, tell me about the Labyrinth. That one looks super cool. Alice in Wonderland Labyrinth.
Okay, yeah. So that was super neat. I think one of the biggest surprises for us was just how big it actually was, how much space it took up. So it was cool. I mean, it was one of those great kind of walkthrough experiences that, as a labyrinth, you might expect it to be kind of challenging, but it wasn't too challenging. The fact of you're going to run into dead ends on occasion, but it's not going to be too bad. And then you can get around and see just kind of the experiences you'd expect. So you get to see the caterpillar, you get to see the Queen of Hearts eventually and other kings. And there's a couple of cool photo ops. And eventually you get to the tower. And you get to go up and get a great view all over Fantasyland and maybe a little bit further even beyond that. And it's just like a really neat experience. Like I see this as such a win, especially for the younger guests, as a place to kind of go around, explore, and see things, and really kind of just feel like you're lost in the magic, especially because you really can't see over or through those hedges. And so it just adds to an experience. But man, it takes up a lot of space there.
It does. Their Fantasyland is much larger, I would say, than our Fantasyland. And it's laid out differently, kind of like Disneyland. There's It's a Small World kind of back in the corner. There's a whole section that's actually beyond the train berm where Casey Jr. and like their equivalent of Storybook Land canal boats are, so both of these attractions are totally different than the US. So they have all the small, miniatures and everything just like the US, but the canal boats are actually on a cable. And you board kind of like you do on the Grizzly River Run, like where it's like a rotating platform and you go get in your boat. And they're all on the same cable. So like if it stops, like everybody's boat stops. Oh. But they're a little bit closer together and you kind of go through and you get the, you don't have somebody narrating the story.
It's like a boat omnimover system.
Yeah.
Kind of, yeah.
Yeah, so they have little books in front of all of the places so you can see what the story is. It's really nice. They definitely have more stories, it seems like.
Yeah. Yeah, they definitely have more stories. I took some pictures for you, Teresa. I took one because they had the Sword in the Stone. And so I thought
no Merlin.
No Merlin, though. But
because he's too busy dancing in Disneyland.
You know how you tease me about Casey Jr.?
Yes. Was this one actually exciting?
So I'll show you this picture. I'll have to send this to Sidell to put this in the show notes. But it's actually a roller coaster track. And it actually does get pretty thrilling.
You have a lap bar, I see.
Yes.
Dang.
Yes. So that was fun. And all I was thinking to myself was, Teresa wouldn't make fun of me on this one. But like I said earlier about maintenance, this is one of the cues. This and the Storybook Canal ones were two attractions that seemed like they had not renovated in a while. So like, I'll show you this picture quick. So they have the sign for the canal boats, which is a book that, looks like a storybook like from from like Walt or whatever. Well, if you look at it, you can tell from this photo, it's like in pretty bad shape.
Oh, yeah.
And that was kind of that whole area.
Completely worn off.
Yeah. And the railings and stuff like along that queue were, all right, actually in the next photo, the railings, the paint had really worn off. And so there's the loading platform, by the way.
Neat.
Yeah. So overall, it was pretty cool. It's a Small World was really great. They had an America section, which I thought, an America section, which was funny. It wasn't just cowboys and Indians, which I was thinking was going to be what it was about.
Corn.
They also
had the one that we have.
And corn.
Farming and cowboys.
It started raining, by the way, when we went to It's a Small World, and it was great because not only is the queue mostly covered, but so is the queue of the boats going into the building.
Oh.
So we didn't get wet sitting in the boats, which was great. Here's the America one. So so we've got kind of like the Pacific or the Southwest, because there is some like, Indian people and Native Americans and, Conestoga wagon and a saloon. But then the next section, they had a farm. And then they had like New York and the Statue of Liberty and the Golden Gate Bridge and Hollywood. So that was kind of the U.S. area. And
the sports.
And sports. They had like a sports stadium with a football player and baseball player. It looks like.
Interesting. So overall thoughts of the parks before we get into entertainment. Oh,
no.
Wait,
I need to tell you about one more spot. Their Adventureland and Pirate area is spectacular.
Yeah.
Take Pirate's Lair on Tom Sawyer Island and plus it in every way possible.
And blow it up too, because it's much bigger, isn't it?
Yes, but there are so many caves and so many different places to go. Their Swiss Family Treehouse is on top of some of these caves. Oh. So you can be in the cave and you see the roots and you can kind of look up and see the tree.
That's cool.
And they had all these bridges. They had this rope bridge, kind of like the old Swiss Family Treehouse, but it was much longer. They had the Skull Rock. And
you can go up in the skull, can't you?
Yeah. Yeah, you can go through all this stuff. And it was... I'll have to put this in an album somewhere for this show so you guys can see all these photos. But their Adventureland is massive. Teresa, the only thing I can think of that you would kind of understand when I say this is there were parts of this trail that when I looked out reminded me, I felt like I was in Animal Kingdom.
Wow.
There was that much just kind of greenery and not attractions, but just kind of things.
Yeah.
And James and I think came to the conclusion that this park, Disneyland Park, would be a great place if there was tickets for things, right? Like old school Disneyland, e-tickets and everything. This would be one that if you paid your $1 or $5 admission or whatever and didn't go on any rides but just did experiences, you could spend a whole day just experiencing walkthroughs and trails of things.
Lots of shows.
And lots of shows.
Tons of shows.
Wow.
We also saw a Lion King show that was Broadway caliber and really wonderful. We saw a Mickey magician show in studios, which was also very, very good. They did a lot of cool special effects. They brought out a lot of characters. It was very good. Their shows were very good. Oh, I took this picture for you, Teresa, and totally forgot till just now. Look who we found when we were crawling around the Adventureland area.
How cute! It's Mr. Fredricksen and Russell from Up.
Hanging out next to a boat.
Yeah, sitting on a little dock. And Russell's pointing in the boat. He's probably trying to convince Mr. Fredricksen they should get in, and he's like, yeah, no.
Here's how we saw it. See how much nothing there is?
Yeah.
And then
it's just a set piece way off in the... That's cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, so they're just kind of hanging out.
That's really fun.
Anyway.
Yeah. So I think what worked so well about the shows was they were in theater spaces dedicated for them. So they were ready to go for that, set up, had the space that they needed to really work well inside of it. Plus they had plenty of seating and everything to really navigate getting people in and set up and have that right feeling that you want for this kind of show, especially the Lion King that ran I think it ran 4 or 5 times, if not 6.
Yeah.
Pretty consistently, maybe a 30, 45 minute break between shows. So they had empty and fill and empty and fill.
I was going to say, you had shared a photo that looked like it was a large area.
There's a ton of people.
And then that was the set.
That's huge. That's bigger than the Hyperion stage.
Yeah. And the set for Lion King was cool because they had this middle set piece that like rotated and like so it changed and did things in the dancers and they had acrobatics and it was very good. They're as much as their food is bad, in our opinion, their entertainment made up for it. Like their entertainment was top notch.
So I think we finally come to the end. What was the most exciting entertainment thing for sure, Tag?
Well, I liked the fireworks. So there's a story here. So the first night we were getting ready to watch the fireworks and it started raining and like torrential downpour rain. And so much so that I made the most ridiculous expensive purchase. We have an umbrella.
Souvenirs. You have very expensive souvenirs.
Didn't take it with us into the park, but I asked this guy, I said, do you sell an umbrella? And he said, I know we sell them somewhere, but I couldn't find any because I didn't want to get a poncho because it was warm out too, and I didn't want to So I found one umbrella, and it was the last umbrella at this shop. And I said, how much? And they got, was it 30 euros?
30 euros.
30 euros. For little, like, whatever.
It changes color when it gets wet.
It does.
Oh, well, there you go.
The words go from white to blue and red.
Yeah, so we had this umbrella and we stood on Main Street, and the great thing was that a bunch of people left. Well, they ended up canceling. There's 2 shows every night. There's the drone show, which is called Disney Delight, that uses the drones, and that happens 10 minutes before the fireworks at 11. Now, I thought it was crazy that the fireworks were at 11 because the park closes at 11, and that's really late for Disney standards. We're used to like 9:30 for fireworks. Yeah. Well, that's because it doesn't freaking get dark in summer until 11 o'clock. In fact, when our fireworks started on the next day, when there wasn't a storm, it was still fairly light out when the fireworks started. So that's just, it needed to be that late to be that dark. So anyway, so they didn't do the drones, but they did the fireworks show, which I think if it was in California, they would not have done because James laughs at it too because they go up and it's like, boom.
They explode and then they fly to the right.
Yeah.
Like...
The smoke just clears right out.
Like faster than the Autopia cars.
Now, the cool thing about this was because it was raining so hard, the lights they had to light up for the show looked really nice because it was reflecting. And they have a laser effect. And James, the second night when we didn't have rain, James is like, I like the laser effect in the rain better because like
better.
It was like a beam.
Like the misty. Cool.
I've seen this fireworks show before. I still think it's, what did I say, like the 3rd best fireworks show?
I think you put it
number 3.
Yeah, behind Remember Dreams Come True, which is my number 1, and Wondrous, which is like amazing. This is a very good show. The Disney Delight show with the drones we saw the second night, and that was really good. James and I were talking about it. What did you think?
It's better than fireworks. It's outstanding. Like the magic that they can pull off with this, just what they did in a 7-minute show. Just how they made it look and everything, it's just unreal. And then hearing about what they did for Bastille Day with all the drones and all the figures and everything else they did, it is 100% the future of nighttime entertainment. It'll be cool if they can mix it in with fireworks and really kind of have it going like they did for the Bastille Day one. Totally worth looking up on YouTube. I'm sure Take can give you a link to put in the show notes.
I watched it on the train today because it's been all over my social media feed of like the Bastille Day in Paris was wonderful because they did like a European world record for drones in a show with that show, and it was amazing. There was a section, I made James watch part of it on the train today because there's 2 sections. There's a middle section of this Bastille Day show that was Topsy-Turvy Day from Hunchback. And they did not stop shooting off fireworks for like this whole segment. It was like boom, 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 boom. And I was like, oh, wow. Then they got to the finale, which was Be Our Guest. And the finale, they lit off so many fireworks. The entire vista of the viewing area looked like it was gold. And then stuff came off the cat. It was amazing. It was amazing. Yeah. Like James was trying to say earlier, I was very sad because the dragon was not there. We could not, like it was closed.
Yeah, it was closed. I just saw one of our people, I think one of our listeners is there now, and she shared it's open now, so just missed it.
Rats.
James, we got to go back.
That's it. We're going back. But yeah, so whatever refurbishment it had going on, she's back.
Yeah.
So I'm sorry you missed it.
Well, that's okay.
Just a reason to go back again.
We also thought that the Nautilus thing that had reopened was pretty cool. The only problem is that it's tight. Yeah. So people stop to kind of look at this one show segment, and it's very warm in there. There's not really like air conditioning or a lot of air movement. So that was kind of, but yeah.
So overall, how would you rate Disneyland Paris? Expectations exceeded. What are your overall thoughts?
I would say probably expectations met overall. Show, entertainment, good attractions were very good, but when they missed, it seemed like they missed pretty hard for me. So, I mean, that's just kind of where it is. Like, the food being, like, as bad as it was, so as frequently as it was. I mean, bad may not be the right word, but, like, you know, I have Disney expectations. And these were not Disney expectations, especially for the price we were paying for the food. I understand why a lot of people brought their own food with them and were eating on their own throughout the park. So that was definitely a bummer. You know, the fact that we only ate one thing in Disney Studio because we didn't see anything else that we really wanted was a definite setback too. But I would probably go back for the shows and purely the atmosphere itself.
Nice, yeah.
Is it the most beautiful Disney park? Main Street Castle?
Yes. And especially if they can keep up with the maintenance, then it would be more of a sure yes. And I think this would be more of a Vern park if they added a couple more like musical things throughout the day as well.
Oh yeah, no Dapper Dans, no Disneyland Band.
Do they have entertainment that's just kind of sporadic, like Disneyland does? Nope. Like, oh, okay, so it's just like the come to this show specifically in this theater kind of things.
Their character meet and greets were like Tokyo level lines for these things. They have a whole building in Fantasyland just to meet Mickey, and all day, both days we were there, it was like 90 to 120 minutes of wait just to meet Mickey.
The Princess Pavilion got over 3 hours at one point.
Yeah.
Dang.
So character meet and greets are a big deal there.
So, James, what was your number one thing, the thing that was like the best thing you did, experienced, probably not ate?
I think the parade, the dancing parade in the middle, not the actual not the normal parade. We saw that was typical level parade, but the one where they danced in the hub, definitely the biggest surprise, and left me just feeling the most like youthful Disney magic that I felt in a while.
I think that one's for the 30th specifically. I don't remember. I have no idea what the name's called.
Definitely the 30th song playing throughout it. And it's definitely been there a while because there are people in the hub doing the dance with the dancers.
Oh, that's fun. That's really fun.
The sad thing is like I really liked that show a lot too. That's probably one of the highlights. I don't think you could do a show like that in Disneyland because you have the entire parade route that is so packed with people when there's a regular parade at Disneyland that you couldn't just do a hub show, but really that's kind of what you need for this show. I do see like drones and stuff coming to Disney. My thought after seeing it, like I had seen some videos and I was like, yeah, okay, drones, whatever. It'll be cool. But after watching it in person, I turned to James and I said, I think I just saw the future. And that's how I felt when I saw the fireworks show that they're running right now back 11 years ago. It was the first park that did projections on the castle with fireworks. And I think Disney uses Paris as kind of a testing ground. So I'm kind of hopeful that some of these things will come over to us. I hope the drones come over because it looks really cool. I hope they find some way to do a parade or something cool like what they did with this because it was really cool. My number one thing, I think actually after I've reflected on it, like, of course I thought like Big Thunder was great. I love the fireworks. But I think the thing that like I just stuck in my mind the couple days we were there was that hub
caves.
Show.
Not the caves?
No, the hub show. I love the caves.
You've talked him into it, James.
Well, no, but because I was thinking about it and I'm like, when I think of like the funnest we had at the park, I think we had, and for the amount of time, as I think we were consistently, for that half an hour, the 2 times we saw it, I think we had gooby smiles on our faces and we just were having a blast.
Oh, absolutely.
Where, things like Big Thunder were great for like the 2 or 3 minutes you're on the attraction or whatever.
That's a long attraction.
Yeah. So, yeah, I think this show was really, really great.
I'm surprised it surpassed the fireworks for you, because if anyone wants to rewind, I do believe you were giving James a hard time when you were first talking about this.
Maybe, yeah. But reflecting on it, I think.
Not the fireworks?
I think the fireworks...
amazing, though.
I think the fireworks thing, too, for me was I had seen it. It's the same show I saw 11 years ago, and I loved it then. And fireworks shows like Wondrous have come so far. The drones are cool, but the drones were only 7 minutes. So I think this parade, I got to give the parade. I'm sorry.
There you go.
We also, one of my favorite things about a Disney trip is Disneyland at night. And because it didn't get dark until it closed, I never really got to experience the park in the dark.
Yeah. That's a bummer. But Paris, I've not been. It just looks so beautiful. I love I don't even know what they are. The things that are in front of the castle, they kind of are like wind.
Yeah,
those are special for the 30th.
Those look so beautiful.
They are incredible. I think that they should stay, and I think we should get things like that in California.
They might.
As well.
I wonder if they don't stay. Honestly,
they are. I love those.
Paris.
I don't even know what to call them, but they're like
their placemaking at Paris
things.
Has always been good at this because, like, for Halloween, they have some really cool caricature kind of things that they put up for Halloween. Yeah.
Very cool. Very, very cool.
To sum it up, worth a 2-day trip at some point if it works in your budget.
At least 2. Do you think 2 days is enough, or do you think more?
2 days was fine for us in the middle of summer. Because I think by the end of the second night, we'd kind of done what we wanted to do for the most part.
We probably could have stretched it to a third if we really wanted to. But we also wouldn't have had food options that we wanted. But it could have helped us maybe with a couple of the longer queues of the ships.
Sure.
Yeah.
Sure.
It's okay. I'll be the only weekly tier without an answer. Make sure you send your questions to Producer James or Producer Vern at trivia@DLWeekly.net.
Welcome back to Trivia Land, where we're going to find out the correct answers and see how Teresa and Lynn did. How do you two feel you did? Do you think you got them all right? Feeling pretty good about yourselves?
I'm feeling all right.
Yeah?
The best one yet, I think.
Not like the most confident, like we nailed all of them confident, but pretty good.
All right. Well, let's see how it went. As aforementioned, we are recording this episode on July 18th. And the anniversary of the International Press Preview, now known as Opening Day of Disneyland, was yesterday. Due to mishaps throughout the park on that day, what nickname did the day end up receiving? Both of you answering Black Sunday. Well, those mishaps included a plumber strike that forced Walt to choose between toilets or drinking fountains, freshly poured asphalt that stole women's shoes, and vendors running out of food, not to mention many other things, which earned the day the nickname Black Sunday.
Woohoo!
Yeah.
Well done. Your second regular round question. 2 days ago, July 16, marks the anniversary of a special performance at the Golden Horseshoe Revue for which major sponsor? Teresa said ABC Network, and Lynn said Pepsi-Cola Corporation. Along with a few other invited guests, the correct answer was Pepsi-Cola Corporation.
Good job, Lynn.
Teresa, you mentioned that there was the 30th wedding anniversary that was celebrated. That was the Tempest Fugit celebration that was celebrated on the Mark Twain riverboat and concluded at Frontierland's Golden Horseshoe Saloon, and that was celebrated on July 13th, 1955, with roughly 300 guests in attendance. You were close. Your third regular round question. Of the roughly 28,000 guests in the park on Black Sunday, it's estimated that blank percent actually had been invited. Teresa said 25%, and Lynn said 50%. With many guests purchasing counterfeit tickets, and at least one entrepreneur setting up a ladder and charging $5 to climb over the wall, the correct answer that we were looking for is roughly 50% had actually been invited.
Lynn.
That info is stored somewhere up there.
And your fourth and final regular round question. Can you name the opening day attractions? Specifically the rides, not including the the Main Street vehicles and the Main Street Theater and whatnot. You answered Toad's Wild Ride, the Teacups, Snow White, the Canal Boats, the Carousel, Autopia, Peter Pan, the Disneyland Railroad, Jungle Cruise, Mark Twain, the Phantom Boats.
No, Teresa answered Phantom Boats.
Teresa threw in the Phantom Boats and Casey Jr.
Lynn does not need to be on my sinking ship. He's doing just fine on his own.
From all of my research, multiple websites, all sorts of looking around, including official Disneyland sites and a few others, I have been able to find, and this is actually kind of a convoluted thing, there was some infighting. A lot of sites don't agree on what actually counts as an opening day attraction. But what I was able to nail it down to, the Disneyland Railroad, Snow White's Enchanted Adventure, Autopia, the Jungle Cruise, the Mad Tea Party, also known as the Teacups, Mark Twain, Casey Jr., Peter Pan, Mr. Toad's Wild Ride, the Canal Boats of the World, later reimagined as Storybook Land Canal Boats, and King Arthur's Carousel. I gave both of you full credit as correct. Even though Teresa was the overachiever. And your bonus question. Which future president was a media broadcaster on opening day? Both of you saying Ronald Reagan. The correct answer that I was looking for was Hollywood actor Ronald Reagan was a host on Dateline Disneyland TV special on the ABC network. And in 1990, President Reagan returned for the 35th anniversary celebration. Both of you getting that one correct.
All right.
So the final score for tonight was Lynn with 5 corrects.
According to this article I found
Thank you.
on Laughing Place, the Tomorrowland boats were an opening day attraction that were later renamed Phantom Boats.
Oh. I've never heard them listed.
They're most commonly known by today.
Which is interesting because one of my Disneyland sites that I use, not D23.com, but one of my other ones, said that Autopia was the only Tomorrowland attraction.
I don't know. Maybe those poor Phantom Boats have just been forgotten.
Maybe.
Huh.
Or maybe they opened in 1955,
but not on opening day.
Yeah, maybe it wasn't opening day. I don't know. Because this article that I'm looking at from the Disney History Institute just says July of 1955. Laughing Place said that they were opening day. Disney History Institute just says July. D23 has the Tomorrowland boats from July 30th, 1955 to January 15th, 1956.
That makes sense.
So I wonder
why it's
then if
not advertised.
Because they were having issues with the motors, and so they worked on them, and then when they reopened them after the boats were worked on, that's when they were called the Phantom Boats. So technically not an opening day attraction. It was still July of 1955, so kind of in the same, no pun intended, boat as like Dumbo, where
opening year,
opening year, opening month attraction even, but not an opening day. It was not open July 17th, 1955, or July 18th, 1955, and that's from D23.com. So we're gonna go with that final answer.
Yeah.
Well, listeners, how did you do listening at home? How do you feel about how Teresa and Lynn did? Do you think that you've got some great questions that can really stump them next time? If you've got that perfect question and you'd like to hear it live on the air, feel free to send that in to us at trivia@dlweekly.net.
We'll be back next week with more Disneyland news and information.
Until then, go out and enjoy the parks.
Please remain seated until the podcast comes to a complete stop and the doors have opened. Then collect your belongings, watch your head, and step carefully from the episode. On behalf of all of our crew, thanks for traveling with us, and we hope you have a happy and memorable visit here at DL Weekly.